Hello, I'm Jerrika, and I'm going to tell you a few things I've learned and seen while I'm taking this class. So a few key terms we will go over in this video is gender regime, where social policies may encourage or discourage gender inequality, like for example Montana and Nike, where Nike is extremely unsupportive with her being both an athlete and a mom, so the company actually cut her check while she was pregnant. Second, gender boundaries, which are boundaries placed by society into two different genders on how they should be. These are seen everywhere from organizational leaders regulating roles, especially on females in comparison to males. Then, two-sex classification system where things are categorized into stereotypes of the two genders, making the divide more normal. This in turn uses symbolism where society will construct the ideal type of person based on their gender. Last is hegemonic femininity and masculinity, where these are based on the most widely accepted construct or idea based on each gender. So I grew up playing AYSO along with my three older brothers and my dad. My dad was actually a ref and a coach at one point in time. So I thought after seeing this class, after taking it, my perspective of genders and young children today may have changed. So according to the U.S. Soccer Federation, the U.S. Youth Soccer Association is the body of one of the largest nonprofit members of all the levels. They have more than 3 million players in the U.S. with over 500,000 volunteers and administrators. The gender breakdown is about 52% male and 48% female, with a median age of 11 and a half years old. So when I attended the boys and girls AYSO game, the team of the boys had parents yelling and screaming for the kids to run faster and encourage the boy who had fallen to tough it out, and it's just as great. Whereas the girls played with just within an hour different. The parents were more relaxed and socializing with one another, calling the girl sweetie and congratulating them on how adorable she is kicking the ball. So similar to the boys and girls, sea monsters and Barbie girls that we read about, the gender regime and gender boundaries are well depicted in today's parents. The coaches of the girls' teams were both dads shouting encouragement such as keep up the good work, honey, and that's okay, girls, we'll get the ball next time, whereas the coach for the boys' team kept saying kick their butts and I'll take you to pizza after. So while there's not really a huge discrepancy that I saw, since the teams were only 5 years old, I'm sure as they get older they'll be more aggressive especially from the parents and the coaches in the boys team in comparison to the. From the statistics, there is a slight change in gender demographics, showing there's slightly more males than females. According to the National AYSO Guidance for Referees and Coaches, they actually allow boys and girls to play on the same team if there isn't enough players, which is a huge change from what a professor mentioned during her high school. She was unable to join the boys soccer team when there was no girls. AYSO does a good job by highly recommending separate teams when possible, but it is okay for them to be on the same team rather than excluding one gender group. According to Coakley and Meisner, they discussed teams at all levels were segregated by sex to promote team unity during their AYSO discussion. I believe the rule book, they try really hard to eliminate gender boundaries, but with society, there will always be a gender regime where it is discouraged to treat boys and girls equally in sports. It is more common for females to be in charge of refreshments in comparison to males being head coaches. Koki describes that AYSO was started in 1964, it was only for boys, but the girls' team was actually introduced in 1971, and I believe this is the beginning of when the differences occurred, and from then all the way till 2008, it's beginning to balance out according to this data. So in the future, we need to eliminate gender boundaries and change the gender regime society has placed upon us. This is even more detrimental for females, which may fall into the female athlete paradox. As girls become older, soccer was classified as a boy sport originally, but over time it has changed. With females going into male dominated sports, they feel the pressure to be sexy, showing more skin, and being pretty. So for a male, a boy may grow up to be constant, like the be a man comment, which may lead to the development of toxic masculinity. This is the adherence to traditional views of how male gender roles may lead to men wanting to provide how manly they are. Then we need to eliminate hegemonic femininity of the idea of how females should behave. So it shouldn't matter what sports girls want to play, they should be able to choose freely without any limits. And then for men, the most widely accepted form of masculinity is sometimes not always the best for the person. This promotion of unhealthiness leads to the man box. And this is the myth that men would grow up to become athletic, bigger in size, stronger, and have economic success, which actually limits the possibilities to live their life of how they want it to be. And then lastly, with gender ideology, according to Coakley, it is two separate categories made for individuals which are entirely opposite. Once us as a society eliminates the classification of the two different individuals, we are better able to treat both males and females more equally in the sport. This brings me to 3 questions to think about. Have you experienced gender discrimination in sports or from an adult when you were young? Second, have you felt like there was someone policing gender boundaries, and how would you the issue dealt with? And then lastly, if you witnessed it with a relative or an adult place the two-sex classification system, and they encourage what society has said was okay, and how would you actually react?